Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we will look at a new pen testing OS that I've been asked to review. It's called SnoopGod. Okay, so I have no prior experience with this distribution of Linux. So before I install it with you in the video here, I will definitely go ahead and check out the web page with you guys and talk about what we see. Now, first of all, we are seeing some sort of carousel, slideshow, image, whatever, text rotation of cybersecurity focused distribution, provides, tools and stuff like that. So it does seem like that it's a pen testing OS. It does say ultimate pen testing distribution, and that is yet to be seen. Also, there's a button here called documentation. When we click that, we can go ahead and check out different kind of documentation stuff like installation, virtualization, configuration, and so on. Okay, so what I really want to see now is just, basically what this is all about, really. So let's zoom in a bit. It's just like it's security driven, it's like it's a security oriented operating system based on Ubuntu. So it's Ubuntu system, which is really nice to know, because when we're going to install using here the VMware, it will ask us about the distribution type, or well, which kind of Linux type it is based on, and so it's good they say Ubuntu, which also reminds me that Linux Kali is based on Debian, if I'm not mistaken, and there are some differences to those. Ubuntu is, I think, one of the most used Linux distributions because it provided a very interesting UI that reminds people of Windows, and have a wide variety of tools and so on. So I think it's a good choice to choose Ubuntu as the general based on operating system type. Performance and stuff like that is great. They talk about it because we all know installing it on your computer basically comes down to the computer power. So performance is basically based on computer power. Customization, every Linux distribution is very customizable. So yeah, it's based on Ubuntu and Debian standards, which is really great. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this can do, different compared to Linux Kali. There are some images, it would see, let's click on it. Yeah, we're gonna see like we have a Windows-like setup in the bottom. I kind of like that idea. I never really liked the one on Linux Kali that is in the uppermost left corner. This is the downmost left corner, which is the same as Windows in the old days, at least. Windows 11 is more like in between, like you can see we have it right here, but I guess it's fine. What I really hope is that it's gonna act good on my VMware. So let's see how this is going. Let's just look at a few pictures. Does show a few programs, some hacking and beef, and we're gonna see more than this. Arduino, Sketch, yeah, packet sender, EDP something. What is this? Ghidra, decompiler, and very good to analyze binary files. So ethercap, we're seeing stuff. What is this? Volnscarp, never used it before. However, I know about it. Wireshark, important stuff. SAP, proxy, or SQL injection stuff. I see a lot of tools that is OWASP, basically Maltego, one of the best reconnaissance tools there are. That is, pushed down on the distribution, which is really nice to see that we are getting a lot of stuff. So we can go ahead and download it now. I have it downloaded already. Tools for every situation, more than 800 pre-installed tools, and they talk about every single one of them here. Aircrack, Wi-Fi cracking stuff, Hydra, for brute forcing Nmap, for the, port scanning, exploration, reconnaissance tool, Tor browser for access darknet, proxies, WP scan, Wireshark, and so on and so on. So far, I'm really looking forward to trying this, and when we have it installed, I will try and access some basic, try hack me machine on it and see how it goes. Yeah, so I think we basically gonna go ahead and download it. So we're gonna go ahead and check out. Well, before that, there's one called Docs. I guess it's the same as documentation before. That is true. One called Packages. So okay, so what this is all about is it's a comprehensive ecosystem. Okay, so they're basically showing us all the different packages installed. So if you're, for example, thinking about Python, well, then you have a lot of different kind of Python stuff here you can go ahead and run. Most of it, it seems like it's Python 3, all of it, which is great, I guess. However, most stuff you find, not most, but many of the things you find on, for example, ExploitDB is gonna have to require Python 2.7. Some of the older stuff that are really good still also require that, even though they're trying to convert it to Python 3. Stress testing, we got stuff like rping, GoldenEye, hping3 for flooding, and then different other kind of tools. Script utilities, we got different kind of tools here as well. Reverse engineering, we already talked about Ghidra, Java, Snoop, and stuff like that. Really great tools. What we're probably going to go ahead and check out is the cracking one. So we got a lot of the crunch for generating, passwords. We got Hashcat, got John Hydra, Hashred, Hash That's really great. Stuff like I just thought about about cracking. If maybe they got the hash identifier that we also use sometimes in Linux KDE. Not really sure where this should be located, to be honest, but we can definitely just try some commands and see what's going on. But we can always try and install it, basically. So, okay, so it's great to see we have a lot of packages, and we can always check it out what there is. So far, it's looking pretty good, so let's go ahead and download it. Click on the download button, and we're going to see the SnoopGod right here. The version is 24.04.2. It's an architecture for the AMD 64. And talking about different kind of, prerequisites to run it. So 2 gigabytes of memory system, RAM, 2 gigahertz dual core processors or better, 40 gigabytes and stuff like that. Very normal, all of this. And we have other version here down below. Also go ahead and click download. Or you can go ahead and click alternative downloads. This is for you, where you can find different places where you can download it from. So click on download, and then you are actually downloading it. I already have downloaded it, so what we're going to do now is, when you downloaded it, go to your VMware. I use VMware Workstation. Now it's an older version, 17. I should definitely go ahead and get a new one, but I just haven't done it yet. Let's go ahead and click on Player now, and File, and New Virtual Machine. Here you're going to go ahead and choose the installer disk from ISO file. Browse the computer. Go to wherever you downloaded the file to, and just basically choose it right there, SnoopGod ISO file. And then click Next. It does say the guest operating system is Linux and the version is Ubuntu. So I think 64-bit Ubuntu should be the right one to pick, because we read it's 64-bit and it's based on Ubuntu. Click Next, and we can basically say that where we want to store this. Well, I would definitely like to store it on my D drive, so I'm going to alter that folder to D drive. I'm going to call it SnoopGod, and it's a 64 version, so the machine name is Ubuntu. Well, I'm going to go ahead and call it Snoop. I'm going to write this correctly, SnoopGod, and click Next. Now we're going to go ahead and maximum disk size. Well, they talked about 40 gigabytes. Let's give it 50. So we're having the option here of splitting the virtual disk into multiple files, and it makes it easier when we're going to move it around. So that is the default picked version on my, picked choice, sorry, on my PC, this version of VMware Workstation. If you have that choice, pick it, else stay with what you have. Now they talk about, this and that, and we can customize something. Click on the customer hardware, and we can see how we can give the machine more memory and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it like, I don't know, 12 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm gonna give it like 8 CPUs. I go up to 32, but let's just say 8 for now. And we can go ahead and check out the network adapter. It can say like bridged directly to the physical network, or NATing using the host IP address, and so on. It doesn't really matter too much right now for me, because what I'm gonna do is to basically more or less just connect to TryHackMe with it and using VPN, so that's gonna be fine. USB controller is present. It can be fine. 2.0. Sound card, you don't need it. I don't really need sound cards for my. If you need it, well, go ahead and check it out. Display, auto detect, accelerate 3D graphics. I think it's fine. Let's click close now, and then say finish. All right, so we are now done with the first part. Go ahead and click play on the SnoopGod machine we have, and you should definitely go ahead and start up. And since this is an ISO file, it should make us do some stuff here now. We can see that we have a live system graphics. We can install it. I'm basically going to go ahead and install it. So I'm going to click install. And if you don't know how to get your mouse, if it's stuck inside the window right now, press Control and Alt key on the keyboard, and the mouse will pop out of the window, so you can move around with the window around. Now, while installing stuff on VMware Workstation, you might experience different kind of speeds depending on your computer, what you're doing right now on it, and so on and so on. So right now we are installing SnoopGod version 24.04, it's telling us. The small dots indicating that it's being worked on, it is running, so we're basically waiting for that. Now, this kind of installation can be quite tedious and take some time, and I would like to say that if you want to follow along, the video is here for you, so we can do everything step by step together. Just sitting and waiting and looking at this can be also quite tedious, so I will try and, be informative while we do these kind of things. Now it starts to do all these fail stuff, and I just have no way of doing anything about it. It does say something about snort and the other thing. I don't really care too much about it. What I really care about is the thing getting installed. So let's see if this is actually happening in this particular case here. So now we are getting to the installation menu. Yes, I'm gonna pick English as my language. That's fine. The important part here is when you're gonna go ahead and pick your keyboard layout, not the language of the operating system. Now, the layout is not English for me. It's gonna be Danish, because that's what I use. So the variant of Danish, got different kind of Danish here. Wow, okay. So I'm gonna pick Danish and pick continue. And say like download updates while installing SnoopGod. Well, that's the thing. If you want to do that, you can do that. I'm going to leave it there because it's a default chosen for me. So it's really fine. Normal installation is okay. Let's see what it asked me next. So it's taking its time, thinking about it. Okay. Now, whenever these kind of, stalls happen, you're basically gonna have to wait it out a bit. Guided entire disk. Yeah, so we gave it like 53, 50-ish. So let's just install this now and use the disk that we gave it. So it's gonna say if continue, change the list below have been written to disk, otherwise we're able to make future changes. The partition, blah blah blah, and talk about the partition will be created with the ext4 and ESP, so that's great. Continue. And now we're gonna pick the time zone, Danish time, Denmark time, whatever, that's fine. Continue again. And then my username, let me just, Dan, for example. And, well, what is this? Oh, on. If you want to put a password, I don't think. Okay, so the virtual computer name, by the way, it could be Snoop Dog, and call it Yo-Yo. So require my password to log in or log in automatically. I'm gonna pick it log in automatically. I don't really care so much about this. So password 123456. 123456. Today it's fine. We're gonna pick this. And now we are actually copying files and installing them. And this is gonna take some time. And I know that these kind of things can also be quite tedious to wait out, because basically that just takes some time. Okay, so while this is running, I will definitely pause the video, and when it's done, I will get back to you. So the installation is now done, and when it's done, it will ask you to restart the computer. But what it basically means is the VMware, not your actual computer itself. If you're installing this on, like, as a native operating system on your own computer, it will of course mean your own computer. So right now it is restarting the operating system in my VMware, and really soon it will be ready to use. Now I chose it should be logged in automatically, even though that I picked a password. I'm not sure if that will work or not. But let's see how this goes. Now, while this is running and can probably take some time, I will once more pause the video and get back when it's done. So it is booting up right now, and before, when it was waiting, I forgot to say it, but you have to press enter while focusing on the VMware. Now it is actually booting up right now, and I think I'm gonna go into full screen so we can get the full experience of logging in. So right now it reminds me of another operating system I just installed with a key, and I'm just, doing this. If you hover your mouse over, you're gonna see the VMware tools that I have. They're not pinned to the screen, that you can choose. I choose not to. Then here below you will see different kind of things here, like the clock with a calendar, just like Windows, and the pop-up here to do status notification stuff, power management, vaults, night color control, disk, devices, KDE Connect, display configuration, and so on. Also a normal button here for the networks. It seems like we are not connected to some internet right now, which is of course understandable. Oh, sorry, we are connected. It just said disconnect. I thought it's like disconnected. We can even see the amount of data it's transferred already, which kind of would suspect that it is on the internet. Okay, we can also see some sound here. And it does actually record the microphone input right now, as you can see here. So that is great. We can see that it's working, and it does actually seem to be running quite smooth. There's another button here called Peek at Desktop. I'm not really sure what that is all about. Let's try and open some window just for fun of it and click it. So, okay, so that's the button to minimize everything, which is actually a feature that is also on MacBooks. You're gonna use these fingers like that. You have this available as a buttons touch, which is quite nice. Also, it just say updates. We got some updates ready for us to install. So it can begin already fetching updates and so on. I would expect it to be more like, would you like to install updates before just fetching them from me? But this is just another thing that are different from OS to OS. Okay, so it just fetched it. I haven't done it yet. A lot of things can be updated, Python versions and stuff like that. Did it pick a Python 2.7 for me? It doesn't seem like that. All right, so we have all of this here, and I actually do need the OpenVPN, but I'm gonna go away from this right now and say let's peek at this OS. And I'm gonna right click here, and we can manage different kind of things. All these kind of different uh, possibilities we have access to with icons and create new files and stuff like that. Reminds me a lot about Windows. I like the fact that it's much like Windows in a way, and still with the same power as Linux have. We do have a browser here. I'm going to open the browser for now. It's a Firefox, the typical browser pre-installed on Linux machines. I'm going to skip this. Just go to any page, just like that, example.com, and we actually browsing the internet on the machine. Also, let's go like and just search OWASP and go to this. It's running quite fast, and I kind of like that. What I miss already right now is the shortcuts we see from Linux Kali, that we can go and access exploit.db and other kind of interesting tools we would need to perform a pen test with. Also, having shortcuts to CyberShift, for example, for OWASP, exploit.db, CVEs, top 25, and so on. Also, the GCFO bins for SUID exploitations, and probably also for hacks tricks. These days would be really nice to have as a shortcut link here. Now, this is just normal browser. I don't really care too much about looking at it. It's just another Firefox browser. And all the different kinds of Dolphin, interesting name. What is this? Discover. I'm not sure what that is all about. Okay, so it's like an overview of the OS. I think it's great. And I have a terminal right there, which is no system settings actually, which is enabling us to change things. Now, I kind of like that it started up really good. We will have a firewall. Interesting. So we can set up rules for this. Okay, so it's already, as they told, it's security based. They give us a pre-installed firewall with rules and incoming policy stuff we can set up. And okay, so it's great. Let's now go ahead and click the start button here down below, whatever button we're going to call it. And now we have the possibility to open a console. We also have all the different kind of tools at our hand. We can go ahead and just scroll through them: cracking, exploitation, forensics, hardening, information gathering, all these kind of things. That's also something that Linux Kali adopted from the old days of Backtrack. But I just never really was a big fan of clicking. I like doing my typing, so I'm going to go ahead and do what I like the most. I'm going to open the console and see how this runs. So this is a console. I'm going to make it a bit bigger. Running quite smooth, I'd like to say. And we're zooming the same way. I can even hold control down and use my mouse on the wheel, which is really nice. Let's go ahead and just fire up the commands. And so we are there, and tab is really good. It's using the same way. History. There we go. Got the same commands. I like the colors. It's straight. It's straightforward to understand. The green and the purple got some sort of nice synergy. I do actually like that. I really like the fact that you got some stuff here. We got actually a desktop where things is located down here below. So it kind of reminds me of what I'm used to on my other computer. Actually the same I'm using right now, but it's not virtualized. Windows 11. I also have a Mac computer for my work computer. So I'm using a little different that, but I really like the fact that we have these kind of windows, and we can also split the window here, which is the thing that is quite interesting. So let's do the split left to right, and we can then just hover over it. And depending on where I have my mouse and I do the wheel back and forth, it will zoom on this. So now I guess I can split this again, top down, and split it one more time. And these kind of functionalities is something we've seen before many hackers use. So they have, for example, a netcat they set up here to listen for something on some different port, and now we're listening, and then we can do like a netcat on my own computer if I can totally type, and then whenever connection is incoming, we're gonna receive a connection. So hello, and it says hello back, saying hi there. And then we have a two-window connection. Kind of showing that I got like a reverse shell. Now, and this is another thing we can do. We can then pull them around and make our own small arrangement of them. But I want this to pop out, so I'm gonna press the maximize, and then we are maximizing it out of the whole orchestration of other small window here. If I want to detach it, I can move the terminal to new tab, and then it's out of here, and then I can zoom in, and then I totally, pop it out. I think this is an upgrade, in all honesty. I think this is an upgrade to the normal terminal we've seen before, as per the one in Linux Kali. I'm actually thinking about giving this OS a shot, because I really like we have the split window right here. I can feel we're running a faster OS. So I think this is quite great, So these split functionalities can also be downloaded as, something called, I think it's called Terminator, and there's also another one you can use. Old schoolers might say, oh, you have to learn the shortcuts because it's faster and so on. I honestly believe in functionality for everyone and not some crazy weird view on you have to use some weird, shortcut to do the cool stuff. Now we can do the same cool stuff as the other kids in the blog just by clicking the split window on wherever the focus is. So you still have to managing where the focus is by looking at this, right here, this the what's it called, the active window indicator, whatever they call it, wherever you can type, right? So that's really it. Let's see how this runs. So I'm gonna go to new tab here. I'm gonna terminate the connection, clear the screen. That's really great. So the speed is quite nice, and even though that I only gave it like, I think it was like 10 gigabytes of RAM or 12 gigabytes of RAM and 8 CPUs, we're still running this as a virtual operating system on my own PC. So I think let's go ahead and close down the other windows and close down that. I also actually got a sound from this. Is it me? Ah, the audio works out of the box, which is also something different compared to Linux Kali. It doesn't really do that. So I think we already have an upgrade for Linux Kali right here. Let's go ahead and try to, do some sudo commands and see whatever we have access to. I did actually give my password there, and we are seeing the same kind of setup here in the virtualization that we can do every command using the sudo command on every single binary file on the whole operating system. So we have access to that. So let's go ahead and check out the passwd file, and we're going to see the same kind of setup as before. So we are back to something we understand. The root is redacted, as we can see, but if I'm not mistaken, I should be able to do sudo su and then say root, and now I'm funny enough root. But we shouldn't be needing to do that, but this is one of the things we can do on stuff like try-hack-me whenever we are going to do standard privilege escalation. If that is a possibility with this small trick, well, it's not even a trick, then we're able to become root. So let's go ahead and try and do a sudo and then apt-get, if that is the one, install OpenVPN. I know it's already there on computer, but we will definitely update it by using this command. As the auto updater also suggested, we could go ahead and install OpenVPN as one of the updates. So I'm going to do a second video with this, where I tested up against TryHackMe and see how that goes with some room using Metasploit and so on. I'm not going to install anything on the OS or change anything, so it's going to be exactly as it right now. And then in that video, I'm going to do a final comparison up against Linux Kali and talk about what I think about it and what I feel about using the SnoopGod security distribution operating system. So for now, the first video is done, and I really hope you learned something about it. If you liked the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below if you have any questions. So I'm going to see you again on the second video, and have a really nice day.